10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Now we're live and you can hear me.
2,
And we're joining this arena
0.
at the last second. We're in. Let's go. Playing a 2387 in 5-0 chess. Knight F3. We have an opportunity against Bishop F4. I would have played Knight E4. Good thing I didn't pre-move it. Would have played the Grafe attack, but our queen would hang. I guess if I play H6 right now, does he trade and go E4? Takes the center. Maybe we can play it a little Sicilian-y. E4, or he just goes E3. Can I go Queen B6 and Knight E4? Is the question. This seems fun. H6, this seems like their important bishop, but they have to trade it. Queen B6, Knight C3 takes B2. Knight B5. Knight E4. No, that gets you mated. I could go takes. And check. Alright, let's just play H6, see if they take it. What's up, Screwtude? How you doing? Okay, now I'm definitely playing G5. Come on. Now my knight's free. Alexa, play Free Bird by Leonard Skinner. Okay, we're coming in. We're coming in, baby. Queen B6. I mean, this seems like more reasonable, and then also to follow with H5. But I like the aggression here. I got big ideas. Okay, they're not playing this with Knight C3. I thought they were kind of better prepared for this, but I was wrong. This seems pretty good. Seems like some concessions. Knight E4 and Knight D2. I could take it. Seems hard to recapture. I guess the bishop is coming in here, right? Could be a problem. So let's just play Knight C6. This makes some sense. Okay, pawn C3. Now Knight E4, Knight D2. They can just recapture. It's okay for them. So do I play D5 or D6? What I want to do is put a rook right there, but I have nothing great to do with this bishop at the moment. I'll play D5 while I think about it. D2, bishop D7. I think the rook's coming to C8. Like I said, I could long castle. I think there's the most amount of sense to that out of all my options. Probably missed opportunity not getting my knight in. Let's just play rook C8 though. Short castles will be fine. Bishop G7. Queen B1 steps off of here. So I think now I'm going to target that guy and be ready for castles and then make H takes G3 before the rook goes there. I can't imagine them going long anyway. So they go short. If I take it, there's F takes. The bishop's not going anywhere, really. But you know what? I'm going to take right now anyway, so I can play maybe F5, bishop D6. G7's also seems like a nice square. Let's put my bishop... Well, I should stop E4. So actually, I will play F5, because I want to stop E4. Maybe G4 is interesting. But I want to stop E4 just against the openings to my king. Probably had it under control anyway, just due to the pressure here. But F5, so we kind of grip all the breaks. C4 makes sense to lock it down. Yeah, now it makes more sense to lock it down. And now we're going to focus on this part of the board here. Bishop E7 and H5, H4. Well, we don't hang that. So they're playing a bit defensive. They're preparing G4, and I shut it down. Here comes F3. So the H4, they want to answer like this. I will just play G4 myself. Unless I could target this. This makes a lot of sense, actually. Queen was doing nothing over here. And we've got their pieces very buried. There's no activity here. They could try B3, but it seems awkward. So they're playing F4 themselves. And now here comes either H4. Let's just play G4 to keep a knight out of here and no knights hopping around. So here's B3. Do I play B5 and keep it closed, or do I take it? That's the question. I think we can capture without consequence. As now we focus on our pursuits over here. I need to get my pieces across. So my king was not in a great spot regarding this, but we're just going to play king f7 and rook across. It's a very simple plan. And try to checkmate down there. So let's go rook h3. Again, I didn't push g3 because that square was nice for their knights. It kept me out of here. I mean, it could have been good in support of like checkmate endeavors, stopping king from escaping, but I didn't need them hopping around. They have no play right now. c4 is an idea though. Probably one I should have stopped. It's just my stuff seems stronger, but maybe they can defend it. So okay, what do we got? Knight a5, take. So let's, like I said, try to hit him from a couple different angles. So knight a5. So now my idea is going to be taking this and queen c2. Or take and bishop c6. Queen c2. Or take. If I take, is that my last chance ever to invade? I like queen c2. It seems fun. Maybe keeping the queens on could have been fun. But okay, we got some pressure here. I don't want to close this for my bishop. Alas, I might not have a choice. I'll play bishop d8 while I think about it, though. No, let's just take it. Okay, we're running low on time. Let's go there. Is that possible? Very, very short on time here, relative to my opponent. Can we get through this way? They're going to take it. Well, actually, a3 is also hanging if they go rook takes. They go king takes, which is surprising, because this endgame looks pretty good after trading, and hopefully... Oops, that's not where I meant to... Could have been a worse mouse slip. Could have been a worse mouse slip. But yeah, the bishop's going to chill on c1 after, say, knight c2... Or yeah, just bishop c1. Okay, well, maybe they heard me. Now we come in there. Of course, the trade ends the game, so they can't allow that. That was actually a nice little setup they did, though. Keeping me out of c1. No, we're not going to repeat. So let's find a better idea, such as advancing our pawns. We've got some good pawns here. We worked hard for this. You going to take me? No. Let's go there and b4 to not lose this pawn. Oh my goodness, I'm not even... Okay, we're just going to keep them on the light squares, though, so the dark square bishop can help. Okay, that's an idea. No! I just hung this check. Unless... c4, okay, 6. No, because they can come here, knight e4, knight c5, knight d3. Yeah, they're fine, knight e4. Knight c5, knight d3, so I'm trying to cut that off. Take e4, check, king c3, hold that square against this knight, which would cover e1. I don't know what's happening here. e2, we're good. Pawn's going to cover that one. Shout out to the pawn. Yes. Oh, we got him. In fact, I can even cheat and set up a stalemate because of that guy. Oh my goodness, what a game. What a game, what a game, what a game. Let me know when to put on the Gambit glasses. Gambit man in the house. What's up, Jonathan? Screwtude. That was a fun game out of a weird setup. Knight f3, bishop g5, e3. So it's like a sort of a Londonish vibes, except the London bishop comes to g5 for the pin. So, like, typically you'd see that out of like a, just like a Queen's Gambit sort of setup. Like, you would first develop these pieces and bishop g5. But okay, bishop g5 and then e3. Perfectly respectable, like just bishop d3 and maybe a quick castle, but they go for a London setup anyway, which I think was a little confusing to me. I thought if I went h6 here that they should take it and then play e4. And then if they took this French structure, they've already traded off the bad French bishop. So I think this is like playable. c5, knight c6. I think it's playable for both sides. Like I've lost a couple tempi here, but okay, I've traded knight for bishop. It's not the most important bishop. The light square bishop would be better, right? Dark square pawns, light square bishop is a better one. But yeah, an interesting game here. So c5, e3, h6, and I think bishop h4 was... I don't know. It makes more sense to me if you're going to just take it. Bishop d3, so light square bishop, dark square pawns, that's your good one. Because now I kind of chase you. Bishop g3. Okay, this was a terrible move. Yeah, knight c3, I was looking at this in the game. Takes b2, knight b5, is it? Yeah, knight b5. I was prepared to just go here and check. That was my idea, like my London Crusher 9000s. Oh, knight c7 is not even the move. See? That's tough. Knight c7 is not even the move. So what happens if you take my rook? Ah, yeah. See, this is what I was going for. Knight d2, I was going to take it. Because, or knight e4 is probably even better on the pin piece. But yeah, take it. Queen takes impossible because of the rook. King takes gets forced. Knight e4 check. Brutal, brutal, brutal for them. King 2 d3. Fun stuff. Queen takes, I eat that. And then the pin there otherwise. So, in the game, Queen c1 defended here. Not a great choice, apparently. Yeah, because of knight c3. So, okay, now we're just developing. Things are fine. Things are normal. c3 to hold that. But it seems like a pretty good version for me. Rook c8 was pretty ambitious. Queen b1. Like here, so I'm targeting this bishop. And I don't want to take and activate their rook. But there's really nothing they can do with their king anyway. It says bishop e5 here, which is always generally a good idea. Because knight h5 is a very stupid move very often, unless you're able to make that trade. If you're not able to make the trade, the knight's doing absolutely nothing here. So even if it trades off for this knight, then it could be problematic. Okay, knight takes it stronger. It could be problematic if the knight has nothing to do. So just bishop e5, even though you're losing a bishop for a knight, makes sense. So it takes h takes g3 because you leave me with that knight. And yeah, but it leaves me with some good opportunities here. I thought f takes was interesting potentially. But it leaves me with some good opportunities here to push and to open the h file, exactly like what happened in the game. Okay, f5, it did not like... Oh, because f5, I was so focused on stopping their breaks... But I actually allowed this break. Yeah, just my king's in the center. Just open it at all costs. Like, it doesn't matter that I have more attackers here than you have defenders. Like, just open the middle at all costs. Like, all these trades, boom, boom, boom. This all comes off. F5 is going to hang. E5 is going to open. It's all problematic for me. What's up? What's up? So f5, I played to try to control breaks, but c4 was actually super strong, and I was lucky that didn't happen. a3, and now I didn't give them another chance. So c4, we lock it down in a way that's nice for me. Now we're defending g5, which allows this pawn to just go to h4, take advantage of the fact that that guy's on g3, and open this h-file. And here, if you're white, it might be hard to generate anything. I think you've missed your window to break with either e4 or c4. b3 is necessary. It's going to leave you with, like, some weaknesses here. Like, my rook is already in a good spot. But it's necessary just to have some sort of action other than where your king is. Because right now... Oops, I hit the down arrow. Right now, the only action is going to be on the king side. Right? So they try to fight against that. I also thought, like, g4 was even potentially an interesting idea here. Just takes, check, just generate something in h2. But when the position's so close, like, my king can run somewhere. But still, e4, I think this is, like, a decent practical try, even though Stockfish is not agreeing with me. Knight h2 to prepare g4 doesn't help, because h5 was my next move anyway. So, again, my pawns now, I look like a genius here, because my pawns all went here, and there's just no breaks in this position. There's just no breaks in this position. b3 is necessary to make something happen, although, you know, it's uncomfortable. But it's necessary just to open anything else other than where I'm super dominant. And you're just going to sit there and die otherwise. f3 makes some sense to try to counter h4 with g4, right? To be able to enable a push-pass rule, not trading pawns, right? If you want to not trade pawns, as white does not around their king, it opens a file for me and it loses a defender for them. You should make sure that you can just push past the enemy pawn. So that's what f3 aims to do. But I have some good options here. So I think queen c7 was perfectly fine. The queen is really doing nothing here. And now it hits g3. So here comes f4 to try and protect that. And g4 just really shuts that down. There's going to be no push pass roll. That pawn's going to be stuck there. h4 is inevitable. And we're doing a pawn trade to my liking. These knights do nothing. They don't have access to the f3 square where they could potentially hop around from. So b3 here has to come. Yeah, like I said in the game, I spent too much time here deciding between a couple good options. C takes b3, which, you know, you could go here and then start focusing your efforts on c3, but I really wanted to focus where their king was. b5 makes some sense as well, but still pawn takes c4. It's not like I can completely shut this down, you know. They're going to try to do absolutely anything here to distract me, such as, like, invade there with the queen. Still, very, very good position here. Knight e5 is a nice little tricky move. It's not what I went with. I went with c takes b3, bishop takes b3, because I just didn't want to be bothered. And so here comes h4. Yeah, knight a5, though, makes sense. It would be a very, like, Capablanca or Karpov sort of way to do this. My bishop's actually already now does something useful, which is shield this diagonal. Knight does a good job here, potentially willing to trade here, and controlling against the c4 break, and defending b7, and can't really be touched. So this is a situation where white probably has nothing on the queen side again, and then I just need this one move, and then I can focus here, h4, stack my rooks on the h-line, and go to work. And also, I have a new target, which is c3. So I play h4, I kind of rushed that a little bit. Here comes g3, and I play king f7, trying to shift across here, and so c4. So now there's like, position's still extremely good for black, but at least there's like some sort of annoyance, right? You know, it's much better, even if the eval was lower, to just not have to deal with anything else. But here comes c4, and so it's a very practical try by white, because something's going to be trying to open up here. So I played knight a5. Apparently this was winning on the spot. I didn't really see it. What was the follow-up here? Knight takes d. Oh my goodness, that's nasty. The thing about c4 is if I can trade this pawn, I can open this diagonal. And I sort of realized that during the game, but I didn't put it all together. I can just open, boom, boom, boom. Bishop just comes to c6. The most dead piece on the board becomes the most brutal piece on the board. Bishop comes to c6 is just going to end the game. Like, the king's going to have to move. I'm going to take that rook and then take that knight and then take everything. So, yeah, knight takes d4, just opening up that square. Pawn takes c4. Yeah, I was like, don't go pawn takes c4. That'll open the bishop onto their king. But in reality, it opens the bishop onto the white king and would be super duper strong. So c4 actually hurt them because it opened this. It opened this, and I didn't really put that all together. I was just focused on keeping this side locked, but you got to look at the whole board. Very important here. I was like, h-file, h-file, h-file. But I was like, damn, the h-file's not enough. Yeah, one file's never going to be enough. You can just defend this, right? But you got to look at the whole board and using your other pieces here. Do as I say, not as I do. Get that bishop to c6, and wow, that just would have been lights out. Instead, I tried to fight against this. So c takes d5, knight takes b3, which is okay. Queen takes b3. And here I just go queen c2 because... well, it made some sense. It made some sense. It gives me a nice endgame here with very little time on the clock. Although, you know, it's nice to keep queens on, but I didn't really see how I was getting through. Anyway, apparently I'm hitting this knight enough times, and they're supposed to lose a knight. Knight f3. I'm not seeing it. Oh, and rook c3. Queen a5, rook... So there's so many ideas here if I were to just look at things other than the h-file. Queen a5 to support rook c3, and then take c3, and then they coordinate on g3. Yeah, I just need the queen side, and then they connect really nicely. They would connect really nicely. In the game, I went queen c2, which is okay. We trade queens. Rook f2 is a nice way to defuse the pin. I take d5. So we end in a position where I have a bishop pair, equal pawns, and they have a majority here, but their extra e-pawn is never going to be a passed pawn, whereas my 2-on-1 is looking very nice. And eventually I did win this pawn, because their knights look very poor. My bishops are better than them, obviously, and my rooks are better than their rooks. So it's a really pleasant endgame that we were able to get ourselves into, even if I didn't checkmate them right away. Knight f1 is good first step to start entangling. Defends this. I mean, none of their pieces were in good spots here, so bishop b5, trying to activate that. Knight b3, we trade, and takes. This is a nice way to kind of just diffuse things a little bit. Trying to make that rook move just to grab a3, or rook h2 check and just come across. Grabbing a3 is going to be enough to win the game with these pawns, as I very much did not demonstrate in the game here. So we grabbed a3, and this this is handed to me on a silver platter. These pawns are literally all in dark squares, which is perfect for me. Bishop should stay on c1 and tie these pieces down to e3 forever, or it can, you know, if I can get all the way underneath here, even better. But also just these two pawns should roll. But this was a very rocky finish, so I tied that knight down to e3, but then I got kicked out. I don't have much time, but the bishop's moving around. And so here comes b5. All we really need to do is keep the pawns on light squares, right? Imagine I put them on dark squares. That would be a big problem, because that's the same color of my bishop. And in general, you don't want pawns on the same color of your bishop in general. And now I can never make these pieces move off of a light square. That's the issue. So if that makes sense, they're just going to be stuck here forever on the same color. My bishop can't help them move. But if I keep them on this color, it's very easy for them to move. My bishop can control the b4 square, right? So that's what you want to do. a6, b5. So you want there, and then there, and then there, right? So the pawn will help the other pawn move to a light square. Rather than doing this and putting them on the same color, I'd be stuck here forever. So a4 check, and it's very simple. I just need to defend this, but I like bishop b4 just to make the knight move somewhere. Bishop d2, tie him down, and then b4, king b5, b3, and roll it like that. Not b4 and a3, where I'd get stuck. It's not what I did. I blundered once, and then I blundered again. So I hung d5, which doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, except my opponent did a good job to create another opportunity for me to make another mistake, which was b4, and allowing that. Apparently, it's still winning. The position is just that good, even though I get forked. So king a6, I made the right choice. King a6, not king b5, because king b5, he takes this with check, and then takes e4 also. This is check, and then I would lose that, so I'd lose everything. But king a6, I have enough here to win the game. I have enough here to win the game, but we got to be careful here. Knight e4 threatens another check to come back to d3 to catch my pawn, so we have to go king d5. Apparently that loses. Knight d6, so you can keep trying to be annoying using the checks. It's not clear where this king needs to go to avoid checks as much as possible to me. So here comes knight c5, but king c4 is a nice move and cuts off their last route home. Yeah, takes e4, knight b2, again trying to get there to catch the pawn, but king c3. And finally, we can put our king that distance from a knight, which is the right distance to be, to diagonally, which is where you will never get touched by that knight for at least a few moves. So knight e4 was played, and eventually this pawn rolled because we controlled this square against the queen square, and we promoted and won. So that was a fun game. And yeah, interesting setup here with bishop g5, e3. What I would like it more if h6, they were just willing to take it and just go bishop to d3 and castle really quickly, and then just go for something in the center. Just go for something in the center while you're pushing here. I don't like that the bishop gets pushed to g3. It was just kind of waiting for me to get there. And then also, you know, knight e4, h4. What I was touching on during the game, that I was hoping to get was bishop f4. In this position instead of bishop g5, as London players do. This is obviously the London spot to put the bishop, and this might seem familiar to some of y'all who are a fan of my channel, but we play knight e4 and e6, the idea being that both those moves support g5 against these guys. So g5 would drive the bishop to g3, and this is the setup you want, targeting the bishop and then threatening to trap it. Targeting the bishop and threatening to trap it, so that now we're threatening like h4, which would run the bishop out of squares, and because we're attacking it also at this moment, when they play h3, we take it. We play h3 before they're able to tuck themselves safe and sound back on h2. We're targeting it. At the same time, we're threatening to trap it, so they're not able to play this in one turn. So in h3, now we're able to take it. There's no way h takes g3, f takes g3. This is just absolutely brutal stuff because we hit here. We force like king f2, and this is great stuff right away. And so this comes up in a number of openings on my channel, actually, including the Deceiver Gambit with bishop to g5, where you can play like e5 here. And once we cut off, this is just one of the many lines, but once we attack f2, so induce e3, cut off the bishop's last route home. I've gotten this also a number of times. We play your g5 and h5, and it's the same sort of idea, threatening to trap the bishop, and then otherwise taking it there when we can force f takes g3, and then eating everything. So fun stuff to play against the dark square bishop when it comes out, or the theme also comes up in like the Von Popiel Gambit against this bishop and a number of other lines on my channel. GCRU, hope you enjoyed that game. We actually played like a pretty decent end game, almost. What's up, guys? What's up? Polka, Chestastic, I'm back. Matt Bader, what's up? How did Amateur Team East do? It went all right. I played okay. I dropped like a tiny bit of rating. My team had 5 out of 6, which was good. Let me make sure... Let's just play e5 here. That's a fun first game. Gonna send this all to... Okay. Bushcast Gambit. Let's go. C3 quickly. He was prepared. He was prepared. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the chat. D5, D4. What? So, okay. He's going to play both these. Well, ED5 really should be played, right? CD4, this is also covered on my channel. This is interesting. This transposes to stuff that we talk about, CD4 and check. This is really just equal. It's not an ambitious way to play in general. If you play C3, you can play e takes D5, knight f6. And in that position, knight takes e5 is the engine recommendation, trying to grab the pawn. And otherwise, d4 is what we're transposing into right now. Just some pretty chill stuff, honestly. Yeah, I've had these positions a million times. That's kind of spicy, though, offering the pawn. I don't think it's good, but I respect that you sacrificed a pawn. And I guess I understand why you didn't want to take one of mine. Where's my water? One sec. Okay, we're taking this pin. Queen should be here, yeah? Seems fun. One sec. Okay, that's exactly why I put the queen on d5. Bishop here is never going to be free. We're stopping that pawn. We should be here. Yeah. Okay, pieces will come very nicely, very nicely. Yeah, bishop should not be on b2. But the lack of light square bishops is tough for them. Do we trade every... I mean, just bishop h5 makes a lot of sense, because I like my pieces. I could just trade everything, but only if my knight would teleport there, which it won't. Let's just play bishop h5. It's fine. I would respect g4, but I don't think it really gets them anywhere. Queen d3. Okay, it's my last chance, yeah? Take... So, knight c6, though, where are you really going to go with that? Where are you really going to go with that, anyway? I take away knight e5. I just don't want anyone to make my queen move. I'm very happy I got rid of the light square bishop. Rook e8. Glasses. Glasses will go on as soon as... the Gambit glasses will go on as soon as I lose a pawn. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Rook e8 before queen d5. Yeah. I think it was valid. This position. Rook e8. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I got that square. Maybe queen comes here. But yeah, honestly, I like your move. I like your move. I was just trying to find my water. So knight d2. Okay, they didn't like any any of my stuff. Rook e8 to support bishop e2, but just rook e1 comes. Knight e5 is fun, but arguably meaningless. Let's just put a rook on d8. Rook on c5 would be annoying. Can I grab it? Yeah, I'll just grab it. No reason I wouldn't. Rook e8, rook e1. Okay, they're just passively defending. What do we do against that? Okay. If I really wanted this pawn, but I don't that badly. There's a hit here. Okay, I'm willing to trade queens. I'm willing. I will win this endgame off a pawn. Oh, bishop a3! Oh my goodness, I missed bishop a3. I really did. I really did. Bishop a3. Still, this hit could be annoying coupled with the c line. I'm not sure I should have been so excited about swapping the queens. Anyway, knight takes b7, I have rook b8. Right? So can I just grab... Well, no, not if I trade off for the bishop. b6, knight a6. And... nothing. Knight b4. Well, this is pretty tricky. I'm trying to just, like, hop around. Knight takes b7, I would go knight d3. After rook c2, rook b8. They go there immediately. I was thinking here, right? Knight takes b7, so I just block that in a weird way. Knight takes b7, rook b8, gives me a piece. Ooh. Oh, no, they don't even have rook e1 to try and go rook e8. I have a knight there. Yeah, that's the distance you want to be. That's the distance you want to be from a knight. So there's no hit on my rook right now. There's no hit on my rook. So you can grab this. And then, even so, if I just cover this square, I'm still winning this. I just need to cover this square. Rook e1 was not a long-term solution anyway. It was a very short-term solution. And so we're just going to eat. And it worked out. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, so interesting bush gas here. Quick c3, trying to play d4. But yeah, hit him with d5, or else d4 actually does come really nicely. But we hit him with a d5, and it really messes all that up here, where we go knight f6, castle really quickly. You can find all these lines in the Bushcast Denier video on my channel. But check, and this is just a nice line, honestly, after bishop d... Like this is one of the really tame ways for them to play. But yeah, it went well here because we grabbed that pawn and also trade off for their light square bishop. That's why I took with the bishop here, because I landed with the knight, and then made sure I got that bishop. And yeah, rook e8 would have been a nice inclusion. But yeah, we just hung out on d5, dominated the light squares. They did have some files here that could provide some annoyance, but you know, eventually we diffused that. Don't focus on the fact that I hung bishop a3. All right. Thank you. Yeah, the control right in front of an isolated pawn, very important. Actually, no, I don't know why I thought I was hot. I'm gonna leave this on. Thank you, Jonathan G. Screw-toed, Polka. Okay, we'll berserk this. We're slacking in the arena. I've only played 2 games. Ooh. Oh, a reverse Leela? Go bishop b4. Yeah, take it. Take. Brutal. Sad. What's up? Okay, big trade coming here. I feel like I don't need to encourage it, because I feel like it's going to come in. Let's play bishop d2. Queen g4, rook h3. So yeah, h4, very helpful move. Also could have supported my bishop coming directly to g5. Knight takes c3, always a fun recapture. And queen comes to g4. Hits g7. Not a bad idea would be queen e7, queen takes g7 and castles. g6 came early. My bishop's already on d2, so it feels like a waste to play bishop g5. But it also feels very annoying for them. If I play h5 right now, queen e7 is still not a good move, because then bishop g5 actually becomes brutal. Knight e4 also makes a lot of sense, just because that seems like a cool place to hop around in. But okay, if there's no good queen e7 resource right now, then I'm obligated to just push h5. Castle's long makes sense. Knight e4 makes sense. Rook h3 makes sense. Bishop g5 makes sense. Lots of good resources here. Queen is well positioned. Knight e7, sensible choice. But now a knight on f6 seems especially brutal. But it's harder to get there now. Knight e4, they can take it. Knight e4, they can take it. So knight e7 was a good defensive resource on their part, but keeps them farther from castling. Let's bring out this bishop into the game. He was doing nothing. Queen does a great job. It defended d4 before. She's also holding down g2. Here comes the knight coming to f5, but it's tactic season. No, it's not tactic season. Next season. Takes. Well, actually, queen takes g6 check. H takes rook h8. I would pick up a pawn from that. I would pick up a pawn. One entire pawn for William. Let's just castle. So they again want queen e7 to escape. So they're trying to distract me. If I take queen e7, I don't have bishop g5 anymore. You thought I wouldn't notice. But if I take, then queen a3 check comes. So let's just take it. Queen e7, and I will probably just come right back. What is this? That doesn't make any sense. We were having a nice discussion about this position, and you just hung your bishop. Oh well. Just come here, bishop g5. I think people tend to play worse when I get low on time. I think that's it, honestly. I think that's it. Alright, bishop's gonna zigzag into f6. They just think they can flag me or something. Take, and bishop comes to f6, like I said. Here and rook h8. Yeah, no look how brutal that is. No castling, rook coming to h8. Oh my god. Oh my god, play knight g8. Yeah, and then I can take on g6. I can go queen takes g6. Oh, they didn't let me do it. Alright. Let's just be quick here for the finish. Oh, don't check me. Queen a8. 7 seconds is a lot more than I think my opponent thinks it is. It is a lot more. I'm sorry. Give your checks. Give another check. Do it. Rook h4. Nice. Good move. Oh, g5. Good move. Okay. Good moves. Good moves. Good moves. You were so close. You were so close. I forgot what I was saying about this position. Yeah, I don't know. What you just saw I had like 30 seconds here and was just like I'll just do whatever. Yeah, I think the issue here is queen e7, bishop d2, and then I was just gonna come bishop g5. So like I was just gonna hop around on those holes. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they got rid of this knight here that would come to f6, but they traded off the dark square bishop, and so they got like brutal holes here. Bishop g5, bishop f6 comes, and then kicking the rook out of h8 then takes, and that pouring in becomes really devastating. So there's just a lot of great stuff in these positions anyway. You really tried with those checks. You gave some really nice checks. I gotta hand it to him. Yeah, h4 there is nice. Yeah, oh, I didn't even... I meant to discuss that. It's a nice resource because I have the Leela Gambit on my channel, which is against b3 to play e5, knight c6, knight c6, d5, and knight g7 to recapture. And h4 is just that, but in reverse, but it's always such a useful move. Oh, I gotta counter that. Berserk. Goring. Ooh. That seemed like a pre-move. Or was that prep against my Goring? Seemed like a pre-move, right? Takes. So queen d5, knight c5, they're okay? So bishop g5, bishop e7. So knight will come to e6 and they won't lose immediately. What if I come here? Threatening takes and just queen d5? Seems tough. I don't know what you do. Probably knight c5, knight e6. I don't see another great option. Because I'm threatening... Because if bishop c5... Well, bishop c5, I mean, queen d5 might be even stronger. Yeah, knight c5, knight e6. It's a little ugly, but it doesn't lose immediately. That's what really counts. Knight g5, knight e6, queen h5 is interesting. Bishop g5, bishop e7. Bishop g5, bishop g7, take. I'll just castle. Yeah, I mean, okay. It's okay for them. They did not lose immediately. This seems really annoying. Hits on c7 that come quick can be... Knight d5 could have been stronger, actually. Preparing bishop f4. I can't include knight c7 here. Now, you have... Yeah, knight a6. Something awkward like that, but it's fine. Alright, it's just going to be a pawn. They can castle. Just a pawn. Just a pawn. Take. I can go bishop c7, potentially more annoying, leaving this guy here. So if you want to get rid of that knight that's doing nothing, you're gonna have to do that. So they target here. I'll come bishop d6, and then c3 next. All right, we're down a little bit of time, but we have a great... That was a really clean capture of the pawn, actually. We keep this knight on the board. In fact, I'm just... No, I'll play c3. I was going to play bishop a3. Bishop a3 did make a certain degree of sense, honestly. But I like this here with bishop d5 to support this and make some threats this way. My knight should be on d6. My next one's just going to be h3. Recapture pretty nicely. And otherwise, I'm going to play g4 to get rid of this annoying pin. g4 and potentially g5. Why not? Am I going to get repinned? Potentially. But what I want is to maybe land there. Seems cool. It takes c6 and then 85. Are we winning something? I think, honestly, if I just back it up... we've got a number of good options here. Let's just back up. Nah, let's go here. Bishop h5, I didn't want to get repinned. Oh, rook d6? I don't think so. Seems good. c5, b4. Comes there. Confusing stuff happening. This seems like more things are hanging for them. No, but it's probably wrong. I don't know why I did that. It's just trade. What? Stupid. I got no time here. I don't know why I mismanaged it so poorly. Stop checking me. Managed it very poorly. Oh, they're managing it bad. There. Seems safe. Let's check. Didn't you notice? Ah! It became fast at the end. Tough. Oh, what's up, guys? Desert Lightning. How y'all doing? I think, like, I spent so much time there trying to make sure I did everything very accurately. And we, like, won a pawn, and we had a nice position. Just wasn't really worth. What do we want against knight f3 here? Let's play a walrus. Walrus is fun. Yeah. Okay. Didn't give me the Stafford capture. Let's just play d5 then. So, they're kind of a blank slate. Oh, to develop. Let's play knight here. Okay, e3. Didn't even give us a bishop to attack. What I'm going to want to do... I want to see what they do. So, I know I want to put my bishop here. Alright, they're going to want to do a London setup. Let's play queen e7. I want to see what to do with you. Put our bishop on f5 now. I was expecting bishop... Oops. I was expecting bishop d3, and then I was just going to play bishop g4 once I kind of had that. But now with bishop d3 delayed so much, I'm just going to put my bishop right there. Took away their favorite square. Do I want to give it away? All right, I'll give it away. Yeah, I'm castling long. Shocker. I didn't play queen e7 just for fun. So c4, that was really early c4 though. Can I play knight b4? Seems good. Also, because that could trap the queen if you play c5. c5 trying to trap my bishop, but I trapped your queen. I trapped your queen. I didn't just take the rook. I trapped your queen. Got him. Careful, because queen takes knight c4 could give us square, so I'm gonna go with pawn takes. Rook takes, I guess knight c4 would have been a good move. Pawn takes, fun move. Can play something against the Sicilian. Yeah, we got some stuff. We got the Yan Yan Gambit. We've got the Abstinence Gambit. I don't know why I keep doing that. We got him. Look at that trap. It's pretty Pretty, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, c4 was surprising before they had castled. If they didn't castle yet, they'd be okay. What if I go boom and boom? Seems fun. Just really taking advantage of the fact that they can't use the c1 square before they move any of this. Boom. It's kind of funny. Take. So if you go king f1 to defend your bishop, right? After queen takes, I go knight g4. And then my queen's here, so I'm trying to slip inside on f2. Trying to slip there. Only move is knight e4, but I just eat it. Fun stuff. Pawn takes is even playable just because, like, takes, and I would take so much. But, like, why? I can attack the rook. I attack the rook. But you get to move your bishop now. You do. You really do. Move your bishop and give a check. Yeah, bishop c2 is nice there. I mean, they went with their little collie setup. But yeah, should have castled, and then you could use the pawn on c3. Like, c4, okay, it's an option, but you can also play b4, b5. Not that c4 wasn't a bad option. Rook e8, bishop d3. Well, I did just say this was hanging. I'll take it. There's no checks. I'm on a light square. Okay, let's get off that file. Oh, bishop d3 could be a good move. Oh, it could have boxed me in. It could have boxed me in. Bishop d3, I would have had to go... Oh, no, I could have taken knight 2. I didn't even see that. I am tired. Jeez. Didn't even see that. Here. Oh, fun. Takes. Check. Yum. Shout out to this pawn for moving from c7. What's the best gambit for black against e4? I keep getting crushed to playing the BGG, the Bushgas Gambit. The problem is either with how you're playing the opening or with the opening. And it's not the second. That was mean. Let me help you out in the BGG. The Bush gas game. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, geez. Let me move faster. Take this. Yeah. No. That's so sad. I got so lazy at the end. I got so lazy. Yeah, so where are you having problems in the bush gas? Tell me. We've got videos covering all of the lines. If I face something new, I always post it. That's tough to lose that. I don't know. I got lazy. I got lazy at the end there. I wasn't moving very fast. You win when it's accepted, but lose when it's denied. Well, when it's denied, are you just getting, like, normal equal positions? Or, like... But how are they... Like, if they're playing d3... Here we can, transpose to avant papille. If they're playing d3, then you're just getting normal stuff, right? But there's even fun denying lines, like if they castle to just take on e4 anyway. Von Papille on the board, by the way, guys. Full transposition to the Von Papille Gambit. Let's do on those Gambit glasses. Against Anna Santos of the Crown. So d4, d5, e4. You can pretty much get that every time. because after takes, knight c3, knight f6, you can transpose that even if they played here, knight c3, and then e4, right? So you can sacrifice the pawn kind of in any order. This, I just really like e4, so I get this out of Scandies. The point, knight c6 is a weird one. Typically they take it, and then we're playing queen takes f3, hitting f5 and b7, which is fun stuff and very unique to the Von Papille. That really differentiates it from the Black Mardimer. There's a lot of pressure here. Like, I could take and take e4, which, you know, is a pretty aesthetic way to play. Yet, d5 in check or bishop b5 first are the most enticing options. Here, d5. I'm going to play bishop b5 here. So they're not playing e6 yet is another issue for them because it reveals this pin, and I just grab e4 without having to trade my nice pretty bishop. I don't love giving them e takes f6. It helps them develop, and part of the point here is stopping development. So knight c6 was an interesting move. It's just it really asks for hits with d5 and bishop b5 in some order. And you know, you're like, it'd be one thing if that bishop were there to deflect this. But you're really trying to hold this pawn on e4 now, because you really don't want queen takes f3, which would target here and this diagonal. Otherwise, d5's a threat, and e6, again, you don't want to play it, because it opens up this pin, and I will take on e4, pinning the knight. So that leaves a6 as your only option. Bishop a4, b5 gives me two good options. Knight takes b5 is interesting. A takes, bishop takes again. So now we're attacking c6, and then reintroducing our threat of d5, potentially. a6, the other option would just be to take it. Pawn takes c6, we ruin long castling forever. Okay, I'll get back to that more later. So just f takes e4 is very pleasant now, because I can just take it with no consequence, targeting the bishop, now that we have this pin. So e6 made sense to stop d5, but probably a6 needed to be played. After knight c6, I didn't know exactly this move, knight c6, but I'll talk more about it later. Knight d7 is the top recommendation in the engine, and of course, covered in the Von Papille video. It's trying to replace that knight to hold e4, to really, really hold that e4 pawn to not give that capture in queen takes f3, which can be brutal attacking here and here. So bishop g6. So, okay, my position is very pleasant after just like knight f3, but I have two pins here and two pawns that I can push to attack either knight. So at least one of them should be good. At least one of them should be good. d5, I guess there's like a6 and b5 to kind of try to not lose the piece. So I think e5 makes more sense because h6, bishop h4, there's no g5. And I think it's just a really clean way to win the piece. I believe. Because the bishop's in the way in this position. So h6, trying to chase my bishop away to try and try and give that knight an opportunity to move. But we're just going to keep the pin here. And there's no g5. Bishop h5, but I can play here. Bishop takes f6, I believe. Bishop takes f6. Yes, I can. And it's winning. You're right, they're trying to arrange g5, some opportunity to not lose the piece. But this should win. So if takes d1, takes d8, and then in that exact position with the bishops there, I am ahead a piece. And they're not getting it back. Here, I can either take the bishop clean, or I can take here and recapture the bishop. In both cases, I'm up a piece. I will keep the queens on the board, though. And like I said, we snatched the piece clean. We have a knight that they do not. I have two, they have one. And even still, it's like I'm up a piece and I still have compensation. They can't castle this way because I got that pin. Queen is hit in an uncomfortable situation. Let's go to e2 is a nice development spot. Okay, I'll give them an opportunity for queen g5. I mean, I wasn't going to give them queen e3. It seemed annoying. Knight e2 hit the queen and defended here. But yeah, that pin was a nasty one. It was a nasty one, and they were losing material right away. They had no good option here. I think after e6, they were already losing a piece. Just takes and e5 is coming. We're already losing a piece very cleanly. So here comes the queen to e3, which cuts my castle. So that's a good choice. It cuts me both ways. I don't have the dark square bishop. That would otherwise help me. I could propose a queen trade if I wanted to really get rid of him. Her. Knight d1 makes some sense. I could also bring a rook to d3. I could bring a rook to f3. Yeah, that makes more sense, actually. Rook f1, target f7. Okay, let's take that knight now that it's no longer pin. And rook to f3 in this position. I guess there's queen g5. I mean, all roads lead to Rome here. Queen f3 is probably just for simple stuff. Forces the queen trade because of a hit there. Again, not a move I would have played if I weren't ahead a piece. I would probably be taking f7 and trying to get their king. Okay, I respect the ambition of keeping the queens on. Still cuts me from castling at the moment, right? So, I mean, that's their point. Oh, we have g2 covered and everything. Rook takes f7, threatens mate. It threatens a couple mates, actually. Queen takes c7 and queen a8 by virtue of covering these squares. Yeah, you never really accepted the gambit. Did you write that to tell me to take the glasses off? I'll take them off. I'll take them off. I can't abuse my superpowers. Yeah, so nice Von Popil here. So takes bishop g5, bishop f5, f3. Yeah, so I mean, that's the reason we wait a move. That's the reason we wait a move, right? f3 right now is just the black mark d mark. Queen takes f3 does nothing. It doesn't attack anything. There's no reason to do it. Knight takes f3, but now they get their bishop on f5, and they're okay. They get that bishop out, and they're going to have that here to defend their king against this diagonal. We play bishop g5, which is a useful move, and now ask them to make a decision. Are you going to play knight d7, cut the bishop off forever? Okay, queen takes f3 doesn't do anything. It doesn't attack anybody, but now knight takes f3, and I will claim that diagonal and attack. You've blocked your own bishop in. And otherwise, if you play bishop f5 now, f3 comes with queen takes attacking stuff. So it makes a huge, huge difference to have that move in. So a lot of people here are smart, and they realize, okay, queen takes f3 is actually pretty bad. Suddenly, the two unprotected things in this position are both under fire because of the queen, and a quick castle is going to come after that in d5. This is the fun of the Von Popil Gambit. So knight c6 was kind of a weird sort of... Knight d7 is a more common waiting move, and then we really try to encourage them to move that pawn, and we prepare a castle anyway. Knight takes f3, h4, h5. We still have fun here with, down the d and the e lines, and it's still difficult to get that king out of the center in either direction. It's going to take a few moves. But knight c6 here was played, and so we just kind of come out with bishop b5. I think d5 was also a good move. Yeah, d5 was also a good move, but it probably would have wanted me to... No, this is a good move. Queen e2? I was a little concerned about hits on c2, but I guess it's just not a big deal. Oh, we have this check. Oh, check and trying to take the knight. The knight's unprotected right there. So I like that. I like that queen e2 is a pretty nasty move. I didn't see that idea at all. Check, the knight is unprotected, and so we would just win it. Doesn't have knight c6 either. And otherwise, like, they take this pawn, but then okay, we have a lot of fun here. We have a lot of fun with all sorts of pins and things hanging in their king in the middle. And loose pieces for black everywhere. But anyway, bishop b5, yeah, e6 needed to be played. After which, yeah, I probably would have just taken it and took away their long castle. In the game here, e6, but I just, yeah, takes e4, and e5 is the cleanest way to win. Because, like I said, if I played d5, then, okay, after a6, they could try to not lose a piece, right? They would take here, bishop away, they move their knight, and here b5, right? So they're trying to not lose a piece, break the pin while counterattacking. So I chose the other one here, e5, because they don't have access to the g5 resource. They don't have access to the equivalent resource here to not lose a piece. So the bishop needs to move somewhere. My opponent chose bishop h5, right, because they're losing the knight here. It's kind of a fun situation that I've got pins both ways and pawns both ways. But we just need to choose the right one to win cleanly. Bishop h5 does not help because of bishop takes f6. Nice move here. So we're up a piece at this exact moment. They can take a queen. I can take a queen. We're still up a piece at that exact moment. And they can either trade bishops or not. But we're up a piece either way. So bishop takes f6 here was nice. Takes and just takes h5. And we were winning this game pretty cleanly. In fact, we got their king in the end, which was a nice touch of the Von Popil Gambit. Would I always recommend this against the Scandi? Yes. In fact, if you want to be a d4 player, that's acceptable only if you play the Von Popil Gambit. Otherwise, completely unacceptable. So here, yeah, d4, like you get d5 and e4, you can play the Von Popil every time. Like you almost don't need to know another opening. d4, I mean, there's a few other things people play, like of course knight f6 being one of them, but if you play knight c3 threatening e4, they're probably going to play d5, and I even cover in the original Von Popil video knight takes e4 here, which is a rare but other option. Takes bishop e3, and this is fun stuff. If they come out, you play g4. If not, the point is we go to our favorite attack here. Right, if we can claim this diagonal while shutting their bishop in, then the queen coming around, okay, the knight's not here, so it's a little bit different, but the queen coming around and then having this f-line becomes very, very strong. So claiming this diagonal and jamming that guy in is a big deal if they never achieve bishop f5. Here, bishop f5, g4, and this is also fun stuff covered on the channel, but most people play pawn takes e4, and after bishop g5, you're doing really well. So yeah, always play that against the Scandi or just play d4, but I like e4, I like all the other things, you know, that we do against these other moves. So against the Scandi, yeah, I just play d4 and transpose back. What's my recommendation when they don't bring their knight out and just play bishop f5, e6, and bishop g6? So My understanding is you're talking about this. So here, almost everyone's going to play knight f6. Like, how could you not play knight f6? Like, okay, your pawn is under attack, and that's where you're putting the knight no matter what. Bishop f5 here really early is interesting. I would probably just play f3. Because e takes f3, queen takes f3, we still get all the fun here and here. Okay, we don't have these two moves in, but it's fine. You still have to deal with this really awkward situation. And, you know, most people here are bringing the bishop all the way back to c8, which just makes things even more fun. We attack here. We're still going to long castle. We're going to play d5 once they play e6, trade those pawns, bring our rooks to the middle, and crush their queen and king right in the middle of the board. So I really love that queen takes f3 recapture whenever the bishop's there, and we can attack this. Otherwise, if they want to hold their pawn there and not allow that, they can play knight f6, but then we just transpose. We just transpose there. So we never just go knight takes f3. We never just go knight takes f3 against bishop f5, because that's why the Von Papil is better than the Black Mardimer. The Black Mardimer allows black to just play bishop f5. You don't have queen takes f3 in this position. If you're just playing f3 blindly, right? Just okay, I lose that pawn, and then I play f3, and I recapture here. Okay, you have a little bit of compensation, but you're not going to checkmate them. e6, bishop e7, castles. If you want that diagonal, you'll have to trade bishops, and this should keep them relatively safe. There's a little bit of compensation, but it's not enough here. So, much more improved version to play bishop g5. See what they do with that bishop, and if they block it, then f3, and knight takes f3, then you can claim that diagonal for yourself, and it makes a huge difference. Von Papil does roll. Play it every time, win every time. I think I've, like, kind of quite the win rate in this position. Okay, you can see here, 80 games, 74% win. Yeah. Against e takes f3 here, that jumps to 90%. So, not bad. Not bad stuff. Okay, that arena's done. In fact, it's 7:02 on the East Coast now. Let's join another arena. We're late joining. Yes, subscribe. Von Papil rules. More Gambits coming. More Gambits coming. Ugh. What's up, Lyndon? I was at a coffee shop today, and I'm that guy that will order the strawberry mocha with oat milk, but it did not provide me with enough energy. But it was good. Overpriced coffee for the win. If you're not paying at least $10 for your coffee, then what are you even doing? What is this trend? Knight f3 and bishop g5? Is this like a common thing? This is like the second time in 5 games I faced this. Okay, last time I played c5. Knight f3, bishop g5 was like a thing? This move order? Okay, this is exactly what I got. I went here. No, I played h6. I played h6 and g5. Knight d2. Oh, I respect that. Because you're gambiting this pawn. Okay, I'm going to take it. There's no reason why not. I wanted an 84, right? I got out of the pin. Whoa. Do you, like, know what you're doing or something? Knight c4? What's the plan? So if I take this, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? Like, rook b1? I'll go, like, here. You'll go, like, rook b3. I want an 84. I'm kind of sad about it. e5, no. Okay, I'll take it. I don't know. I'll bite. What do we got? What was your big idea? No, but I don't think that was a good move. That's what I was saying. I also had bishop b4 check, which was probably even better. Knight c4 is not a good move. Bishop b4 is even better. I should have done that. No, you just hung your rook. No, I kind of thought it was interesting, but only if you went rook b1. Now I achieve an 84. This was my big dream. You got to do it when there's no check. Because if they could get a check right there, it would checkmate me, opening that. Otherwise, this is a nice spot. Yeah, knight c4 gave me this as well. It seemed interesting. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it still. Okay. Yum. Is there any reason I shouldn't just keep taking stuff? What about here and here? Thoughts? Is my knight out of squares? It's kind of unfortunate. I'll go here. Oh, I don't have much time. I should go here. Yeah, the knights... Well, if the queen stays there for one move, it needs to be checked if you're going to stay here. The knights were more scary to me in spots where they could check me. Castle out of this. Queen's been doing a fun job here. E4, C8. Nice. Okay, so that's the second bishop g5 I got where they didn't really have a clear plan. Maybe I should make some prep against this, because it's a thing. C5. Oh, this is a good move. What if I just E3? We pin, stop D4, and prepare to eat it. And I just, oh. D5? What would I do? Check, and knight takes. But it's a gambit. C3 and E4. Fun. So, well, most people will probably just go bishop D2, and then, okay, we have this position. D5 is interesting, but, okay, people are playing E3. Okay, H6, bishop H4. I wanted this. It's not a good move. That's what I did last time. I wanted, like, here, an 84, and some sort of combination of this stuff. But this was a good idea. What they did in the game, knight D2, was a good move. So I took knight takes, they played quickly. I went for this, which was a terrible idea, because of knight B5. That's the point of knight takes D4. So they knew knight takes D4. They just didn't know what to do against queen takes B2. They didn't check this move because it wasn't an engine move. But they didn't know the point of knight takes D4. The point was that you have knight B5 in this position, and now you're encasing the queen, threatening knight C7. If I just stop it, then I might be running out of squares for my queen. Like C3 and knight C4 will trap me. Something like that. Knight C4, not right away because of queen B4. So C3 first. But encases my queen. In the game, they just go knight C4, and I'm like, yeah, not a good move. Because now it just exposes all this, and it's like it's ideas from the London Crusher. It's ideas from the London Crusher. So, okay, interesting stuff against this line. Yeah, I like this. So C5, queen B6, so knight D2, this is the best way to play against it. If you get this position, just stop this knight C4. Okay, they do something. Maybe E5. Otherwise, okay, you can just play. I think this is the absolute best way to play, though, knight D2. Because otherwise, they, like, panic and play something like queen C1. And, okay, we can just take D4. And knight E4, right? Is this not fun? Knight E4? Yeah, knight E4, good move. That's where you kind of want to be. And I wanted to target this bishop, play knight C6. I think it's good. I like this. C5, queen B6, knight E4, in some order. Or, I like this just throwing in H6. So if they take it, queen takes F6, you have a bishop pair, at least you have some sort of imbalance. And if bishop H4, okay, kind of same thing. Except you've included these moves, so now you can play, yeah, G5 and bringing the knight in whenever you want. So I like this. Takes knight C6, similar to my games here. We got fun stuff against knight F3, bishop G5. Just kind of do what you do against the London. Do what I would do against the London. Got any tricks against the Dutch? I mean, like, the Staunton Gambit has a good reputation, I think, for a reason. D4, F5, E4, right? Takes knight C3. Knight F6, bishop G5, right? As we prepare our von Hennig. Otherwise, the best move against f5, and really why it can't be played at a high level immediately, as far as I understand it, is knight c3 on the second move. Because, lame. Because, sorry, there was a comment about this game. You prepare e4, and if they play knight f6, then bishop g5. Okay, knight 2, g4, knight f4. Like this here with h4. I'm castling long. No way. Not a chance. Not a chance. I respect the energy. It's just not working. Queen d2, queen d3. These are fine. Check, knight g3. But I can also keep this on the board if I want, perhaps. Bishop f4. Check, queen h4, knight g3, knight h2. Maybe that's why I should be here. Check, knight g3, bishop d6, the long castle. I gotta be careful. Knight takes e3, queen takes e3, bishop f4 in that position. With my queen and king here. So check, knight g3, bishop d6. Long castle I can't play. So bishop d6, but what's a good move there? Bishop f4? Oh, they take it right away. Now we're going to try to hop on this diagonal. So, okay, so they cut out some other choices for me. I did not see bishop f4 at the end of that line when I played this the first time. I could just go here to take that away. This is tempting. Rook f1. Makes the most sense. Queen e4? No. Knight e4, bishop f4, and then moves, but it's just going to cut me forever. So I'll just come here. Take that away. Potentially coming there was more annoying. But bishop e7, I probably would have just put my knight here to cover g5. I don't know if f5 would have been playable there. Try and play f4. So they castle, but I castle. And they're actually castling into some open files. I kind of wish I didn't give up my dark square bishop, but it's fine. Takes e6. There's rook e8. I thought queen takes e6 check would have been nice. So, all right. Well, let's play king b1 for starters. Actually, for starters, I like this. We're starting out a little differently. Knight's coming e4. I no longer have that pin. That knight would have been fun there, pinning the pawn against the king, because I had this issue. So knight's going to jump into e4, hitting the bishop. Great spot, great spot. Let's bring our rooks. 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 Both files are nice. We've got 2 rooks for 2 files. Potentially 2 rooks for 1 file. I'll figure it out. Where are we going here? Bishop d3? It's not a good spot. Their queen's in a good spot, though. It kind of takes away some squares I would want to use for myself. Bishop d3, knight d5. I could just play queen g3 and trade the queens, but I had big dreams. Okay, let's keep our dreams alive. Queen f3. My king's not in any danger. Again, king b1 would have been a useful move, but we're like here. Like, you got to be careful if they hop any hops around. f5 I think is a good move because rook g4 is what I wanted to play. So, okay, speaking of hopping, this bishop seems good. f5, yeah, it cuts me here. Target this. That's the one downside of f5. Do they want h2? I mean, now without, like, immediately losing the game on h7, it's possible. They've already got 2 files open. What's the third? And potentially that could give 4 connected passers, which would be better than a piece. So I would have to watch out. Yeah, honestly, if I'm black, I'm taking and taking. Taking and taking, and I'll defend later. I will play rook g2 and stack. Try and play an at4, try and make some problems. But I'm not sure I can overwhelm them with my problems. I have one bishop that's a little bit dead. f5 cut me here, and it's not like I can attack there so easily. My attack came slow somehow. Like, 82 is like a slow move, and it took me some time here, g4. My queen had to move a bunch of times. And I think they've done a good job. I think they've played this pretty well for dropping a piece. So, yeah, I also can't just allow that. Queen on h4 has been very good. I have not been able to hit it. Queen a4. Okay, but now make some threats. I should probably just go king b1, but okay, king b1 is fine. Well, king b1 no, king b1 is fine. b4 and ac3 is fine. e5 takes... I can get away with that. Pin won't be a problem if I have check. So... okay. Let's go here. Because now I can use that zigzag opportunity. That's how she does it. Go queen. That's actually huge that I got to e5. Because e5 could have really rolled if they were able to support that in time. And then pushing e4, it could have actually been a big problem. Their knight was very good. And then their pawns could have just rolled right in my face. These E and F pawns. With some good support. But now I got right there. And I halted them in their tracks. With queen g3 and queen e5. Good zigzag. And now that pawn is a weakness. The difference between a pawn being a weakness and being a strength, if you want a quick rule of thumb that's actually correct almost every time, is whether the pawn can move. If the pawn can move, it's a strength. If the pawn cannot move, it's a weakness. Like whether it's a dangerous pawn or not. And now we've got some tic-tacs floating around, like takes and kind of combine ideas. The tic-tacs are not tacking. However, this is trending in the right direction. c4 and b4 and c3. It's a little bit dangerous, but it makes the tacks tick. c4. Move, please. Finally, you've been bothering me. Now knight c3. Knight takes d3. I have rook takes d3 with the queen hanging and that rook hanging. Because knight takes d3 would have hit my queen. Or still, I could just take the queen. So knight c3 solves all my problems. Fortifies d1 and a2. Importantly, attacks their queen. And my idea here was to play bishop takes f5. Just using the pin. I mean, a simpler way to play this would have just been rook g2 and rook g1. Because that causes problems on g7. And then if g6 comes, okay, so we can talk about sacrifices. We can talk about h4, h5. We're actually using our files effectively for the first time this game. So c4 and c3. Yeah, opponents are playing very aggressive today. It's true. So knight a4 and rook d8. I'm up material, but I think just rook takes d3 is pretty effective as well. Queen a5, they're okay. Queen a5, they're okay. So yeah, let's do this then. We're just up a rook in this position. We're just up a rook. Not that the pawns aren't still annoying. I mean, like, my own pawns. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I just heard the bing, but I'm up time. Yeah, these guys can come. What am I doing here? I'm just kind of... You didn't even need to defend that. Just go. Cause problems for me. Alright, let's try and activate you. Look at that. Came to a beautiful square. How did that happen? Boom, boom, boom. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Nice. Yeah, problems here for them. King f6, I have rook f8. Trying to take g7. And my pieces actually started coordinating well. But yeah, I mean, this position, I don't think it was so bad. I think around here, Black's doing pretty decently and has kind of played better than me these last 10 or so moves. Okay, it is bad. I don't know. I mean, I was able to just kind of... Well, I say I won the piece, but they just took it here. It just wasn't working at all. Like all these guys are here. And I've developed dudes. You know, it's not going to work. Yeah, everything's fine. Bishop f4 is fine. Queen d2 is fine. Queen d3 is fine. Anything that just doesn't hang the bishop. Like, yes, this is open for a second, but I just shield the check and queen d2 and castles, and it should be fine. We made it a little more complicated than I needed to. My opponent played well, but we got him. We got him. GG's. Got any tricks against the Dutch? Yeah, so d4, f5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5. Yeah, so if you're going to play a Dutch... Oh, is the YouTube live chat? Let me move that up. Chat box. Move it to the top. Sorry for burying y'all. Oh, and this. Move that up as well. Okay. Yeah, so if you're going to play the Dutch, you should play d4, e6. You need to be prepared for a French if they play e4, but they probably won't because they play d4. So d4, e6, and then if they play something like c4 and f3, then you play f5 on the second move. And there's your Dutch. Much better way to do it. Which is perfectly valid. You can play that into a stonewall or not. Yeah, he castled his king that way, which is a little surprising, but I think he played okay. He played okay there. Bishop c5. Have I played the Duras Gambit? I've heard of that. Tell me the moves. Pretty bad. King f7. What? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? 2 king f7? This is a little weird. Knight c6 would have transposed into like some normal Scotch Gambit stuff. My opponent played the Bushgas into a Scotch Gambit, but it's always weird when we haven't played Knight c6. So d5 here, probably ugly. I'll just play Knight e4. Prepared to go d5 and recapture the en passant on d6 with the knight. So I think just knight takes d... Yeah, okay. It's just going to be equal here. There's not a lot I can do about it. I can't... Like, I'd like to just go rook e8, but I feel like there's problems here. For example, just takes and queen f3. So, should check that position later. Alright, I'll play d5, though. And, yeah, takes... Just knight takes d6, probably. Do they have anything more ambitious? I don't think so. Potentially your bishop d5, actually. Could have been a... Does that just win my knight? Just wins my knight. Where do I go with the knight? I have no squares. I can't play f5 legally. And bishop d5 is the way to attack it because it stops d5. But bishop d5, I would take it and d3. But, yeah, I missed that. Okay, they just come back. Seems like a concession. Can I take... No. Alright, let's attack here. I guess rook e8, bishop f4. Knight c6, make that trade. Could be a good idea. c6. It's also a fine move. c6 makes potentially the most sense. Just a super solid choice. Prepares knight d7. Just burying that bishop. Trying to attack e5. It gets a little awkward for them. f3 knight g5. Oh yeah, we're good. That's defended twice, actually. I was a little bit concerned about knight takes e6 for a second and winning that, but not even close. So knight d7 now attacking here. And I'm asking them to push f4. Bishop e3 is probably helpful, though, because my other idea with c6 was to put the queen here. But they should be able to fortify that sufficiently. F4, it's fine. I don't know. They're really trying to not play it. E6, did I blunder it? Takes. Okay, I just need to move somewhere. Yeah, I mean, takes knight takes e6. It's a problem, obviously. So, takes d4, takes d7, takes e3. Yeah, also a problem. So, knight d4. e4, f5. Okay, you know what? I'll try it. e4, f5. I've tried the Duros Gambit before. I went from 1200 blitz to 1000 in no time. Awesome. Love to hear it. That was very funny. I forgot. So, okay. This feels like there should be some good stuff. My pieces are in some nice spots. Bishop g4, f3. Take it. I wanted, like, here and here. So if I go bishop h3 and you take me and then I take d4. That's what we're gonna go with. Hopefully it doesn't lose immediately. More reasonable choice was queen h4, which made a lot of sense actually. Bishop g5 wasn't even an option. Queen h4, and then you can do some crazy stuff next turn with a little bit more support. But why not just put bishops on h3 if you can? So takes, there's takes. Yeah, so this was potentially the big problem with my move. Hg4 takes, takes, takes. Do I lose? 7. My opponent is good, actually. It's very frustrating. Yeah, this is a problem. F4 was a good move. Okay, takes, takes, takes. Rook e7. Just queen d3, right? Make a play c3. You can just play c3 against anything I do. Reconnecting. Oh no. Oh. You all still there? Hi. Okay, Rook e7. Yeah, but just c3. I don't know what I even have for this piece. I can back up and try c5, c4. That seems annoying. That's all I got here. c5, knight moves, and c4 check can win the queen. I did open that, and I had that locked. Oh! That looked like a really good move, but you will lose your queen. What they needed here was probably just king h1, cd4, cd4. And it's a game. But yeah, knight move and c4 check. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Got him. Very understandable. You want to play knight f5. I mean, it looks like a lot of good things are happening for you. You're up a piece, attacking the rook, opened up all that. But suddenly c4 out of nowhere. It worked, it worked. Funny one. Alright, Duros Gambit. By popular demand. Is there anything I should know? Any prep I should make? I'll play it. I will. You think I won't? On my real rating. On my real fake online rating. $1,500. Gambit Cow, what's up? How you doing? Ooh, Sicilian. I don't have to transpose to a Sicilian because I can do this better version of Benoni. Yeah, I know they're like check a4, something like this. Bishop should be here, if I recall. Where to go? I'll go check. Light square bishop trade is good in the structure, yeah. A4. A takes b5 would be also fun. Oh, okay. So light square bishop trade is good because they have dark square pawns in the center. So their light square bishop should be the good one. The one able to move around. You can see pretty clearly that that guy's not able to move around. That's why I thought it should be here. And the light square, well, I have more space, so both my bishops could be good. But it was still a little bit restrained. So now we're going to work off of some other ideas. Potentially, that looks like a nice square for the knight. And g6 should be played at some moment. But first, let's just start out with rook e1 and see what's going on. So we're going to continue to put pressure in this position. So bishop can come to f4. Let's continue to just move our worse pieces. Bishop f4, putting some pressure on d6, not giving them knight e5. So this is a smart idea on their part. Let's step up with our queen to d3. Again, stopping them from taking any space over here with either c4 or b5, which could have given them some opportunities. So I will take the only open line on the board. So again, I'm looking at that, but just g6 is a pretty nice option against knight h4. So we've got to kind of maybe find another idea. I think that other idea might be bring this knight to c4. So, well, I got a couple ideas. Yeah, let's continue to just play some nice ideas. We got b5 under control pretty well, such that I'm able to bring this here probably without consequence. So they look to trade more dudes. And I will bring my knight to c4. Which is a nice square. No b5, we have that under control. And my next move will be a5 to really lock down. No knight b6, no b5 ever, as they get that knight back into the game. But now they're really tied down here. So they traded every guy on the E line. So we weren't able to generate like a quick attack on them or anything, but I'm looking at ideas like queen g3, and right there, let's play your h3, just so we don't get mated. I know they maybe want knight h5, and I'll just come back with the bishop. We've got lots of options at this point. This is probably a free pawn, but I would lose this. So let's maybe start. Let's just play g4, take some space while we can. Against knight h5, queen g3. They're pretty tied down, so there's not a lot to do if you are black. And now I'm just going to want to grab that. So let's do it. There's really nothing they have here. We did a good job restraining everything. There's no a5 that's going to hang at the end of the line or anything like that. g4 wasn't completely necessary. It's kind of like a don't try that at home kind of move. Oh, I just blundered this. Did I? Bishop c7. I didn't see it. I was attacking here and here. Yeah, they have queen takes d5. So I actually should have kept my knight there. So that went from a very nice game to a blunderful game. But we have one other edge, which is hopefully that b7 pawn. If we swap into an endgame, which they don't need to do. They can play queen c6 here. And then I need to find a square. Bishop 4. Yeah, I was playing well, and then we just didn't have enough time. Queen d8 would be a nice way to checkmate, but it's not going to be checkmate no matter what. Here, this is my idea. That was a good move. I should have gone queen d6 check, actually, and just traded. Knight takes and then hit there. That would have been... Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Wow, they got me. Jesus. Damn, that was bad. King g2 was a overly precise move here. Just taking f8 would have been nice. And the position is really beautiful, honestly. It's... I control every square here other than where I got forked. Tough. My opponent played well. That was my bad. I berserked and I did not play fast. My opponent got me. Okay. Ah, another Von Popiel. That's interesting. What do we got? Alright, I mean, there's a lot I could do here. I think DE4. Oh, I was trying to push D5. I think we were both trying to do that idea. Like DC5, he was going to try to go D4. Like that sort of gambit. And then E5 takes C5. And I was trying to do that as well. Takes him, go D5. Trying to, like, that Falk Bear counter gambit of pushing that pawn right between them. Okay, we're both trying to sacrifice. Queen takes. I don't even know what they have in exchange for the pawn. But I'm still tempted to just play Bishop B5. Because I was trying to sacrifice. But I don't even know what they have. Here, Bishop D7. Oh, I'll play Bishop B5. I don't know. Weird, yeah. Very... Looks like a lot of things. Yeah, Albin looks like... Yeah, that's that idea of pushing that pawn in between, right? Just a very uncommon set of moves here, because we were transposing into a Von Popiel, but they played C5. They're just messing around at this point. Okay, but... We're messing around, but can I just win a piece while we mess around? I can't, because that gets pinned. Weirdly. Takes... Alright, I'll take it anyway. Lots of pins going on. But... Okay, I can't take this yet because of this. So they can play, like... A6. A4, B5, and then A6. Wait, but I can go takes, give the queen, CB7 check, get a new queen. I'm threatening that. I am threatening it. Takes, take my queen, then takes B7, check. Yeah. Oh. That's so fun. Look at that. Take my queen. Take here. Check. Give me a new queen. And I just took so much stuff. I got my queen back, and I took a knight, a pawn, and a rook. Which is worth a queen. And I get a queen. What an absolute wrecking ball this dude is. What an absolute wrecking ball. It was the e-pawn. He went here. His last few moves, literally my last moves were ED5, and it's going to be DC6, take, and then take, and then all the way there to make a queen. What a legend this e-pawn is going to be. And a transformation for her at the end. In the Albin. Yeah, so what a weird game this was. C5. I'll have a look at this after. But I do imagine DC5, D4, like you guys are talking about, that they're probably okay. Because E5, they can, like, basically... Well, okay, I play knight f3 and AC6. Alright, let's have a look. They resigned. Plus 7.9. So, okay, C5. I played an AC3 just because I wanted some funky stuff. Like this. I don't know, seemed funky. So, DC5, I mean, it's the best move. I thought D4... But I think the issue is that... Well, here is queen 5 check. And I don't have an AC3, so I'll lose the bishop. So C3, E5, but now bishop B5. Time it right, so there's no queen at 5. So they recollect here. But then we're just taking everything. I see. So we play c3, bishop b5. Now there's just too much pressure here. Bishop comes to b5, hits the knight, and there's just too much pressure on these spots without the knight support. So you just need to do that right. So dc5. In fact, I think I have played this. Yes. I played this against my viewer, Desert Lightning. d4, knight f3. I played this exact thing, c3, to prepare bishop b5, so there's no check on. So you play bishop g4, which is a clever move. But now, yeah, I play bishop b5 anyway. e5, so he's pinning me. Queen a4, counter cleverness, trying to free the knight. Pressure on c6, trying to take e5 now. So if you take f3, I take here and everything, right? This was my game before. Takes e5, which was clever, because then takes here, and we're just going to win the rook. So, yeah, this all just kind of worked out nicely. And I went up a few pawns. And, okay, d5, we rolled. Threatening some cute little checkmates, right? Like takes b8 and knight a7 is checkmate. If I can make that knight move from controlling here. But okay, fun game. That was interesting. So I played better that game than I did this game. Well, in this one, I mean, I just played knight c3 on the third move. But it's an interesting thing to attempt. We got to do some fun stuff with the pawn here. Taking, and then taking, and then taking there. And, okay, they didn't let me play it all the way out. But they resigned, actually. That whole game was only 8 moves. The whole game was only 8 moves. But that was a fun one. So if they play c5 against you, yeah, probably just dc5. Because if they go like d4 is the fun thing they want to do, just know to play c3. Cut that from being checked, so bishop b5. And you will win the battle for these squares. Otherwise, like, these endgames are always just pleasant. It's always just going to be pleasant. It's the same here, right? To e4, queen d8. And this is just pretty nice for white because you made their king move. So like knight c3, bishop comes out to e3 even to defend c5. Castle's going to be with check. Always so fun to do with check. And then once you make their king move again, try hopping around. I don't know. So yeah, otherwise, okay, it's saying knight f6, but then they're probably going to have some trouble taking this pawn back. So dc5 is the best way to play against that. But otherwise, d4, knight c3. Yeah, I mean, if they play c5 here, I mean, there's a number of ways to play against this. Again, if they're trying to like dodge von pop heels. But yeah, I was looking here at d5. Nice to Falkbear counter Gambit that pawn, or Albin counter Gambit that pawn. Put it right there. If they play e6, right, we can give that check, which is pretty nasty, and then force f takes e6, right? We give that check so the bishop is not there to recapture. So forcing f takes e6 is really ugly recapture for black. And otherwise, putting the pawn there is pretty nice. Here in e2, can hop to g3, take that whenever we want. Can castle either direction. This pawn in their face can be annoying and difficult to develop around. So I like that. Yeah, subscribe if that goes on YouTube. I think it's an interesting little von pop heel counter Gambit line, but not the most effective one. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? Should have took the c-pawn with the knight. Tell me what position you're talking about. I don't know exactly. Streaming exhausts me sometimes. Maybe I was just already exhausted. It's been a big day. What should I do? I'll play f5. Oh, good move. Wow. Great stuff. All right. What do we got? Okay. Cool. Cool. You're cool. You are a certified cool cat. Play h5, h4. Castle. Now I wanted to attack you. How are you going to defend? Your knight is there. No, don't do that. You had such a cool opening and everything. Should I trade off for that awesome knight on f2? It's really been kicking ass. Okay. I had a secret idea after we trade here. Oh, I didn't even get to do my secret idea, which was g5. So we trade... I'm going to trap the rook. Bishop just comes right back to G2. What an absolute menace. It just took a bishop, came back. Gonna come. Takes H3 is good, obviously. But this is more fun. Well, I get to do my original idea, which was this. Let me do my thing. Let me do my thing. Here. Oh, wait. The queen is defending it now. That changes things. I did not see that. Alright, we're playing king f7. Just messing around. Queen takes g5 would be fun. Bishop g3, is it good enough? I think the issue is they can just take h8. So knight c6, bishop b2. What do we got? Bishop b2, bishop b4. This is good. I can make them put something on c3. But the dream dies. Alright. Well, they're gonna push something on c3. Because they can't just take h8, right? I would take the queen, yeah. What if I trade queen h8, take, rook h1, king d2? I haven't calculated, but it's probably worth it. At least it's more fun than my current position. Take. Just using this moment that the pawn is there, because they're about to put on c4. Not that I couldn't have just played around that, but... Alright, so now... This was what I wanted for some reason. We're going to go here. Or maybe rook h1 was cool too. Knight d2, rook e2 check. No, I mean, this is super good. Check and mate. Should have done that last turn. Now king f2, they have that covered. King f2. Oh, mate. It's not mate. What am I talking about? Okay. Let's move faster. Square. Check. Take. Trade and push. No, they get their bishop to e1 and cover it. Right? They need to go king b2 to not lose immediately. Yeah, so okay, g3. This was stupid. I could just bring the king to a3 now, which is a better square. Come around. Maybe here. G2, rook h1. My p-sec was probably okay, but just letting them like losing the knight takes b4 resource where the knight could have hopped around there and there when they had no development was, I think, a pretty significant loss. G2 rook h1 though. I could have just done that last turn. They needed to do that. I don't know why they didn't. This bishop could have guarded the queen square. Now it's too late. Rook h1 will just kill them. Rook g1, rook h1, I can play it. Yeah, bishop d4 now doesn't help because I can take a1 and the bishop will be distracted. If they had that there already, then rook g1 it could have held because my knight wasn't helping. And my light square bishop can't cover g1, but we are in time to win. Just gotta move fast. Ah, confused me. I'm winning a piece here. Queen c5 or queen c1. And I'm already attacking the bishop, I think. Oh. It's fine. Ah, confuse me again. Go to a light square here. Now, oh my god, they have to move the bishop and it's checkmate. They have no moves other than moving the bishop. Isn't that nice? What a nice position. They literally have to move the bishop here to give me queen takes a2. They were salty about it. Nice. Okay. Oh, that's a nice little finish. I thought that was cute. Yeah, weird. I mean, they did this stuff, but then took the stuff, trapped the rook, messed around. This was probably okay. I like this. It was clever, right? Okay, I mean, moving the bishop was fine, but this was fine. Rook h1, rook h2, rook h3. It's all good. Whatever I did here wasn't the best, because I thought this was checkmate on d1. I thought rook d1 there was going to be checkmate, but c2 is available. That square is available. So I went here, but okay. I just took g3. It was all good. It wasn't perfect, but we got our pawn there. Their pieces weren't great. I'm glad you enjoyed. It's kind of stupid. Kind of stupid. Alright. Let's see if we can crack the top 10. Yeah, we dropped that game. And... Alright, let's try and finish this one in time. There's only 5 minutes left in the arena. c3, e5, f4 takes king moves. We should try that. Let's see if we can sacrifice some more stuff. Oh, fun. Okay. Queen b3? Does that just win? What am I missing? Attacks f7. Queen cannot defend because the bishop went right there. Knight h6, not possible. Unless you can kind of like take a knight h6. No, but you can't. Okay, that's the only move. Take b7, but I don't want to give them that exchange sacrifice. So we'll take it. Okay, so what they did was actually not unreasonable because I can take 3 different pawns, but I only have 1 move right now. So which do I want the most? No. Let's think about this. It's interesting. It's arguably the most annoying, right, to get a knight there out of all the things I could do in this position. Because, like, takes knight d7, knight d4 is compelling. I'm scared of, like, rook b8 and takes. Knight c3 is also an option. I think just queen c8. I think this is the most annoying thing if I'm black. I just didn't see a refutation in, like, the brief time that I checked it. Because, like, okay, my queen comes to e6. Like oh, okay, queen comes to e6. Oh, no. But just queen d7, and I don't have a light square bishop to really take advantage of it. Like, I don't doubt the position's really nice. But the knight landing on e6, I think, actually causes serious problems. Not just abstract concepts, but actual problems. Because now, right, so the queen had to move and takes b7 and loses the rook. I covered queen c6 also. This was part of the plan. Queen takes b7, loses the rook. Knight can't move to open a defense. In fact, knight can't move at all. It's not obvious how you defend this. Because, yeah, the knight's coming to e6 and the queen's hitting there, coupled with queen b7 and hits here and the rook. I got threats all over the board because g7 is a big problem. Worst comes to worst, like I do that and that, which is also nice. I leave the knight on e6, just cutting castling in every direction. So knight f6 had to be played, so they're not losing their king. They're only losing a rook, which is smart. Here and castles. And I should probably castle. I should probably not get my queen trapped. I want to be careful about that. c5 knight moves and knight c6 could trap my queen. So I respect the way they played this. Queen b7 I think is necessary. c5 now would trade queens. And they have no obvious square for the knight. And to follow that with rook b8. Which would, even if my queen had a square, to cause me problems right there. I'm still fine with bishop takes b2. I haven't really had a moment where I wanted to take c3. Although, obviously, it's a very beautiful move to play. d5, so they're doing the right thing. Take the Gambit glasses off because they just donned them. They're doing the right thing, trying to open things up before I can castle. So I'll just probably just take it. I think I can still get away with castling. I'm trying to open things up before I can castle. Smart, smart stuff. Knight takes is tricky. Not really. Knight b4. Pawn c3. I like the vibe of what they're going for. But, like, my queen is fine, so they're looking for the king now, but they just don't have the pieces to do it. But I had to be careful. I had to be careful. Yeah, knight d4 I think was actually a very good move. It's really tricky stuff. And I like here, this all worked out nicely. The knight is defended. And I'll just finish my development like a normal person. I had a rook. Check. Not really necessary, but playable. Knight can come to b5. No bishop takes h2 at the moment, so I want to trade it. c6, queen takes d6, so it's just a normal trade. I'm not getting forked. Knight c6 they can play, but yeah, I'm going to take the bishop. Continue to trade things. Yeah, really taking advantage of the one moment they don't have takes h2. But yeah, I want it. Okay, they really wanted it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to take that from you. Your takes h2 and winning the queen. It was cute. It was really cute. Alright, rooks come to the middle. And we have an extra one. And we did a good job of making this position easy to play for ourselves. For a change. For a change. Yum. Back rank trickery. Well, I should make sure I'm not getting back rank trick. Knight c7. Queen d4. Target. I mean, is this annoying? Did I just... No, I'm fine. I have it defended enough times. Or queen e5 even. Hard to dodge this now, I feel like. The knight hanging as well. And then if the queens trade, the rooks will trade. What am I doing? Move. Okay, rook takes c2. I have queen e8. Otherwise, there. It's extremely strong. Bishop should have been on e7 for that reason. Oh, I thought they were going... That's not how I thought they were recapturing. Where's the mate? There. Yes. Well, if they went king e5, I should have done rook f5, right? For mate. Because queen f5, they actually had a square. But otherwise, they're mated. King g5 check. Here and mate. But, okay. This is really topsy-turvy route. Yeah, knight d4 was a nice move there. We can have a look at that, actually. It's a nice little way to play against the Philidor. There's a lot of good tricks against the Philidor, actually. Because, so most people play this with, like, knight d7. I mean, I guess he takes d4 is common, too, and I'll get back to that. But after knight d7, so what we can do is just simply bishop c4, or takes e5 and then bishop c4. I'm not sure it really matters. Bishop c4. And you got to be really careful here if you're black, because if you play just like knight f6, like a normal development move, then take c5, and now you're already losing something. Because if knight takes e5, what we can do is takes and bishop f7 with the queen hanging in this line. You can come back to queen d2, and you'll be ahead 1 pawn. So bishop takes f7, otherwise they can go here, but you're ahead a pawn there with the queen not yet defended. So pawn takes e5 needs to be played, but then knight g5 and f7 is too difficult to protect. You don't have d5, and your bishop's not out, so you cannot castle to defend it. Check c3, and you have serious problems on f7. So they can't play like this either. So what they need to do here, really, is bishop to e7, and the best way to play here, as I understand it, is with takes e5, and after pawn takes e5 here, we play knight g5 anyway. Even though we're seemingly losing that knight, you play here queen to h5, actually threatening checkmate on f7. And it's good that there's a bishop right there, because the bishop can't really do anything to save itself and save f7. Really, all black can do is a queen move or g6, queen e7, or pawn g6. But after queen e7, you can play either bishop takes or queen takes g5. And you've actually swapped that knight for their bishop. Really one of their only developed pieces. And you have a really, really pleasant endgame here with a nice bishop pair. And that's one of the better ways for them to play, because as I understand it, h6 to keep out knight g5 can end very poorly after takes. And yeah, there's this nice little sacrifice here. This is kind of reminiscent of some Staffordish lines. Here, there's bishop takes f7 check, because after king takes, knight takes e5, they've played h6. Not only is that not a useful move, but it's actually maybe actively a hurtful move, because knight g6 can come here. So we've got the pin, and king e8, queen h5 check. There's no g6 resource, which would be important in this position. Right, king e7, knight g6. And I think there's all sorts of fun lines here with like queen f3, or knight c3 is an important move to know. That's actually tough. Knight c3 is the only winning move here. So again, it's still pinned. I guess the point is knight d5, and you can mate them like this. It's actually really nice. So you need to bring another piece in knight c3. Knight takes is, so king takes, check. So what a brilliant mate, driving them all the way back. So check here. They really cover no squares with the knight on d7. It gets pinned, and that is mate. Drove them all the way back home to e8 from this square. So h6 is not a good move either, because if takes f7, knight e5, either queen to h5 check, or king f6, knight c3 is the one move you need to know. Because king e7, you can just grab the rook, I think, at minimum. And king e8, yeah, I mean, this is just ending the game really quickly. So bishop f7 is winning there. Otherwise, yeah, you're threatening this knight g5 resource. Bishop e7 is probably what they should do to make that trade happen. So ed4 is the other option, because it gives knight e5 as a resource against knight g5, right? If you just recapture. And so here you could, and I think that's fine. But there is like that interesting line that I've been looking at that I tried to sort of transpose to here a little bit, which is c3. And the thing about c3 is that you're opening up a secret way to attack f7, which is, as you saw in the game, which can be this queen b3 resource. Queen b3, okay, I guess there's knight c5 here, which is giving f7, king e7. So you got to be a little careful of some really smart moves like that. So the queen is hit, and then you lose the bishop. Tricky. So here, yeah, b5, you run out of rope. Knight c5, tough move to play. But otherwise, queen b3 is a really secret way to snipe f7, knight g. So not playing knight g5, which gives them both knight h6, because you block your bishop from controlling that, and knight e5 as potential resources. So in the game, I was able to pull off an effective queen b3 here. So otherwise, if take c3, okay, castles. What's the difference? So now knight f6. It's still not necessarily effective. So well, takes bishop e7. Ah. So here, the difference, so this was my idea. So you open up queen b3 for sacrifices in this position. The brutal line here that can come, if they set up like this, and you have queen b3 as an option, because you've moved that c3 pawn, whether you're going knight takes c3 or rook e1, is bishop takes f7 check. Because king takes a knight g5, and already white wins. The problem for them is king g8. If their pawn was on c2, they'd be totally fine, and they'd be driving you away next turn. Or they'd be covering up on e6, knight e6, like queen e8. Right, so you can grab the rook, but you're going to get your knight trapped in there, and they got a couple of pieces for it. It's an option, but not the end of the world. King e8 really does trap the queen, though. Again, the knight is very awkward there. So king f8 gets that forked, but king g8, the point is we have, I believe, this queen b3 resource, yeah. Queen b3 is just killing them. d5, and knight takes d5. I think it's also going to be important that you have knight takes d5 in this position, because I think if you were going just pawn takes d5, it wouldn't be as effective, but knight takes d5 makes sure that the queen and the knight will coordinate beautifully, either with queen f7 checkmate or with like an 86 fork at minimum. So this is really, really nice stuff that you can do against these Philidors. So against takes d4 in the Philidor, yeah, you can play c3, or you can also play like bishop c4 right away. I think that's also interesting, but I like this quick c3 and bishop c4. So I got them to take it in bishop c4. So sort of transpose. If they played knight d7, then this would, you know, really fully transpose into what I'm looking for. It's where I'm playing knight takes c3, and I'm looking for that opportunity. So somehow here, so you need your knight on c3. What's the difference here? Knight c5 takes here. The difference, so if you have your knight on c3, then you're good. b5 is just knight takes b5. Otherwise, if your knight's back home, b5 will make your queen move, and you will lose that bishop. So the technical reason, yes, so you should probably recapture on c3 ASAP. Now you're threatening queen b3. There's no knight c5, right? Before, they were able to play knight c5 and run you out of rope. But now you're able to play queen c4. They can't distract you, and so your queen will stay defending that bishop, and you just grab that pawn for free. So technical stuff, but knight takes c3. I mean, why wouldn't you play that? Otherwise, if they play c takes b2, I mean that's just even more fun. Bishop takes b2, and now we just went full Danish and got all the most fun lines of the Danish. Yeah, queen b3 is still going to be an effective resource. So is castles and e5 and just blowing the whole center open using those diagonals. Hard for them to move stuff when they can lose g7 or f7 at any moment. Most people won't want to take that other pawn. So here, my opponent plays bishop e7. Not really sure what the correct order is here. So yeah, knight f6. If you can have this like knight takes c3, knight c6, queen b3, force them to move the queen. That's always good. Don't go queen b3 if they can just castle. If their bishop is still on f8, then queen b3 is much more effective. But if their bishop has moved, then they're able to just castle, and they'll deal with f7 effectively. So yeah, if knight f6 right now, this is an interesting move. An immediate e5 strike. If they take it, takes. So if a really quick knight f6, e5 right away, I love it. e5 right away asks them to move this. And then the queen b3. So all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah, I love e5 right away because you still have bishop f7 on the table. King e7 and queen b3 is the line the engine is giving. So that's why, yeah. So if e5 right away is on the table, then yeah, I mean, we're looking at queen b3 as a really quick resource here to try and force some awkward queen move. Otherwise, castles, knight takes c3, e5, all that fun stuff. So bishop e7 was played here, but now here comes queen b3 really quickly. And it's even worse than before because I don't need knight takes c3 yet because knight c5 isn't an option. Knight c5 here maybe would have been effective because takes f7, king f8, and then they could run me out of rope. Queen c4, b5, right? They can run me out of rope if my knight isn't there to capture the distraction of my queen, right? Like this line here. If they were able to maybe play knight c5, and here queen c4, b5, right? They can distract my queen from defending the bishop. So knight c5 allowing me to take it, and now my queen is hit, and I need to stay on that bishop, but I don't have a knight on c3 able to take this. My queen has to be the one to take it, in which case I lose that. So knight takes c3 stops knight c5 for that reason. But they don't have knight c5 in this position anyway, because the knight's on b8. So I play here queen b3, attacking f7, and knight h6 isn't possible because the bishop is here. That's why we play queen b3 and not knight g5. I didn't even have knight g5. It's also why we don't go queen d5 yet, if bishop e6 can be an effective resource. Bishop e6 was a good resource. I mean, I think it's pretty much the only move here, although, you know, the engine wanted them to just kind of play like king f8 and allow that to come. But, you know, I wouldn't have done that either. So bishop e6 makes some sense. Takes, and yeah, there really is one good move. Okay, I mean, knight takes c3 isn't a bad move either, but you know, I have all these choices of pawns, and it makes a lot of sense to just take one of them, but there's no real follow-up here. If they just kind of propose a queen trade, ask me to move, knight f6 comes, knight c6 comes, and they'll probably find a safe spot for their king. I don't have the light square bishop that would otherwise be tearing them up, right, or landing like that guy on e6 or something. So yeah, really effective counter Philidor stuff. This position kind of can come out of the Goring Gambit as well, although their knight is still on b8. But these are the similar ideas to the Goring Gambit. Although, of course, in the Goring, their knight would be on c6. If their knight's on c6, I think queen takes b7 becomes very effective because it's kind of a hard thing to deal with. How do you defend the knight and the rook? But anyway, yeah. Looking at this position, you can kind of tell, and this idea comes out of my von Hennig, and I'll show you what I mean of a knight on e6 being so effective is right after this, the way we play against the Caro-Kann. But knight d4 and then knight e6 is just so effective. It's just so brutal. Like, even if you're not losing right away, so bishop f6, I'll just take whatever it's recommending here. Bishop f6, knight takes e6, queen d7, and just something like knight takes e3. Okay, they're able to take that, because otherwise I think this knight was coming to d5, and then everybody's attacking c7, right? Knight d5 is really nice because they can't take that knight because it takes c7. So the knights work really, really well that way together. Bishop f6 makes sense to like not lose g7, but the knight can just hang out here for a long time and cut castling in both directions, right? If you don't make that knight move, you can never do anything with your king. And so then, okay, I castle, I play bishop 4, I bring my rooks to the middle, and eventually I play e5 and I just run you over, right? If I can keep your king in the center forever, that, I mean, it's just such a brutal knight. But it's also not obvious how you don't lose immediately, looking at how knight takes e6 couples, more than couples, quadruples so many different threats together, right? We're attacking the queen, we're putting pressure on c7, we're putting pressure on g7. That's a tough pawn to lose, right? If I take that and then just pull back, I just totally decimated the whole king side and stopped castling forever. Also, with knight takes e6 distracting the queen, we have queen takes b7, potentially winning the rook, and threats on c7. And all the meanwhile, there's a pawn hanging out here, but just bishop takes b2 at any moment is fine. So, knight d4, yes, it is a move before I'm castling, but there's nothing they can do to me yet. And yeah, it's just a really, really, really difficult move to deal with. And so queen d7 was played, but now after queen takes b7, they are losing that rook completely. They don't have knight d7 as a resource to defend that way, and they wouldn't have really anyway here. So knight f6 was played, took the rook, castles, and I think we did an important job diffusing the counterplay here. Because again, it's tempting to just play knight takes c3 or something, but the problem is c5, and if you're just la-di-da-di-da, then like I was saying, my opponent did a good job of causing some ways for me to go wrong, right? This is what you would want to do if you were black in this position, right? You're not saving the rook anyway. You may as well get that development in, and yeah, queen b7 was an important find, because like I said, if I didn't, the knight, this opens up the 7th rank, drives my knight away, and gives them control of the c6 square, and actually that traps my queen immediately. So my king's not castled and my queen's in a bad spot, so we got to be a little bit careful here. So we do the right thing though, queen b7, and the queens can't really be touched there anymore, which is pretty nice. So d5, trying to open the middle, it's a good idea, but we're able to castle quickly, not wasting time here, and just eat that and check and trade off for that bishop at an opportune moment where there's no bishop takes h2. They tried to open it again, but okay. And this was kind of a funny ending. I mean, I think it was all fine. Yeah, I was looking at bishop f8. This is what I was wasting time on. I was like, does this win immediately? Because like queen g8, queen e7, right? I mean, they've got such brutal back rank problems. But, okay, I mean, it was just, okay, we took it. I missed a quick checkmate. Rook d8 and queen f5. I think I did that next. Okay, we checkmated some weird way. Okay, interesting game there. Interesting ways to play against the Philidor. Interesting ways to play against Philidor. Yeah, so against the Philidor, play d4 and bring that bishop out to c4 ASAP, whether they put the knight here or not. Bring that bishop out to c4 ASAP, and just look for these fun ideas. Like if they take d4, yeah, play c3, look for those queen b3 ideas. And otherwise, yeah, there's good stuff here of trying to go takes and knight g5. The best way really for them to play against that is to be able to have to recapture there. I think there's c6 as an option. But yeah, you can just play knight g5 and force that knight h6. I think that's also even like a fun situation for white as well. And yeah, h6 is not a great idea. Stops knight g5, but it gives you this really, really nice sacrifice here at knight c3, which is a nice way to win the game. So yeah, crush those Philidor players. Crush those Philidor players. Play d4 and then Goringify this line. Goringify this line. Goring Gambit. Oh yeah, let me show you what I meant. Let me show you what I mean by the Goring Gambit. So the Goring Gambit is this line here. Attack. So, just standard stuff here. Looks like a Scotch, but we play your c3. And the Goring Gambit is the Danish Gambit, except this position. But there are a number of important differences. Namely, they don't have like a nice, easy d5 resource. So this is often the antidote to the Danish. If you're playing black here, d5 can just kind of sacrifice some pawns. But here, e takes d5 attacks the knight on c6. And it's just not an option for them. So we get kind of, I mean, there's other options black has, but we get all the fun lines of the Danish by playing the Goring this way, by not playing d4 on move 2, but playing it on move 3. And what I was talking about before in the von Hennig Gambit was this line. So we play your bishop c4, they play knight f6, defending this pawn, knight takes, and e6 jamming that bishop in leads to all sorts of other problems if we can just take that diagonal against their king and then bring our queen around and then go for checkmate. So they should play here bishop f5. castles e6, knight g5. This is another one covered on my channel, but what we're trying to do is couple these threats together, takes and takes in some order. So, you know, if they're just oblivious to that, then white here is doing great. What black should do is keep the bishop on that diagonal, but get out of the way of that. But then we have this really nice bishop takes e6 sacrifice, and this is what I was talking about before, and it's what inspired my knight d4 idea in the game. The ideas, the patterns, they keep repeating themselves. It's quite nice. We are down a piece for a pawn here, but I've had great success with this position. 14 games, 86%, because the queen moves, and the point is we're going to keep that knight there indirectly with bishop to g5. So now if they take the knight, we take this knight, and that knight was needed to not lose their queen. They needed an 84 in this position, actually. So here they don't have it. We would just take on e4 if they move there with the bishop. It's kind of a fun move, bishop to g5. Now they can't take the knight on e6, and the knight on e6 is just super dominant. It stops castling in all directions, pressures g7, and you just really play around that and crash. d5 as well is another resource. So knights on e6 or e3, like, if you can get them to sit there, are like the best pieces in chess, because like, what are you going to do if as that king if you can't make that knight move? Brutal stuff, fun stuff. Crush the Philidor. I don't think I made a good video against the Philidor yet. But what do I do against the modern Philidor where we have a knight on c3? Okay, so yeah, if you already have, like, so, like, let's say d6, let's say this happened, like, knight c3, e5, like, okay, you already had a knight on c3. What you want to do here, so, like, something like this happens, right? Okay, like a position like this, right? They play knight d7, they get their nice little setup, and they play knight f6, they put their bishop on e7. Play rook e1 is always a useful move. So anytime c6 comes, even if that came earlier, right? So, okay, we didn't have any fun tricks on f7. They were able to castle, and, you know, if this happens, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. But, so they're playing c6. The idea of c6, be careful, is like, you always think it's something in the middle. It's b5, and they take a lot of space that way, and you don't want to let that happen. So against c6, just play a4 every time. And from here, there's some nice ideas. So, for example, let's say they play, like, queen c7. Especially queen c7. So what I really like is taking on e5 and knight h4. The point being, if their queen was still on d8, you have to watch out for, like, knight takes e4. Here, rook takes e4, defends the knight. But if their queen was on d8 still, it wouldn't defend it, and they would grab a pawn. But otherwise, knight h4 is a nice move, because I'm trying to land that knight on I'm trying to play queen f3, trying to land that knight on f5, or if you play g6 to stop me, then I'll still play queen f3. I'll try and bring my bishop in. I'll, you know, maybe bring my rook around or something like this. I'm just trying to generate some threats here. Queen g3, knight f5, make some pins happen. Because you probably want to play rook e8 and bring the bishop back. So I'm going to target this knight a little bit, trying to make that knight move, and some pressure on f7 can come, especially if that rook moves. So g6 is something I'm happy to force. Let's say something like knight b6, attack my bishop, I'll just back up. You probably don't want to allow a5. Let's say you play rook d8, but I'm trying to play queen f3 anyway. If they did something before, let's say they played, like, a5 as a common move, h3 is generally helpful against this. So, like, let's say now queen c7. I think that's even, like, one of the more common moves in the database. Yeah, it's the most common move, so queen c7. Let's say now takes e5, takes a knight h4. So now we're looking at knight f5, right? So queen c7 came, so we're able to play knight h4 without having to deal with knight takes e4. Rook takes e4 will defend that, and they'll just lose a piece. So knight b6, let's say, bishop b3, keep it along here. Let's say rook d8 and queen f3. I'm happy to do that anyway. So there's some games in the database here, but that's basically what I'm looking for. Now I'm trying to jump in knight f5, I'm trying to play bishop g5. I'm trying to make some threats over here. Then in f5, especially with, like, a queen on g3, can be some pretty effective offensive weapons. I love the knight. I love knights on f5 against standard castles like that, because I think that's really the best way to poke around against like a normal castle, because the knight on f6 does a great job defending light squares. It's a knight on a dark square, so it defends all the light squares, the most aggressive spots for the queen, and shields this diagonal and defends h7. But then in f5 pokes around on the dark squares around here, right against that, and the ones right where the enemy king is. So I think that can be especially dangerous, especially if they've, like, maybe played h6 at some moment. Could be sacrifices. I think the light square bishop does well in these lines. So just knight f5. If they take it, you know, that's good. That's good. Both pawn takes f5 is worth consideration, so just queen takes f5 is totally fine. And I think you've traded off for one of their better pieces. So I'm not too concerned about this in general. But yeah, I like this idea of knight h4, queen f3, and then looking, especially with these pieces, against the enemy king there. So, I mean, if you ever need to do that, like, okay, the exact move order didn't work out for you, whatever, like bishop c4, like they did something here. Okay, so, I mean, it's obviously not good. There's knight g5. But they did something, and then you need to get this position. Just play it with a4. Stop that b5 stuff. Rook e1. Okay, you should have played a4 sooner. But play rook e1. Okay, they play a5 very often to stop you from playing a5 because they like that b6 square. And here h3, make sure you take on e5 first, and then you jump in knight h4. So you take on e5 first because if you play knight h4, then takes d4, forces queen takes d4, and it can be awkward. That's another idea they look for. They want to go takes and then jump forward with that knight, which is fine if you're able to play knight takes d4, but it may be more annoying if like your knight's on h4 is kind of a little bit misplaced. So yeah, knight h4 and queen f3, I like that. So yeah, crush those Philidor players. Crush those Philidor players. Great questions. And yeah, subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. I'm probably going to sign off for tonight because I'm really tired, actually. But you're already here on YouTube. Subscribe to the Gambit Man for more Gambit full content. For more chess boxing content. I just released that video of 2.5 hours of just Matt and I breaking down my chess boxing fights. That is a pretty serious goal of mine, to be the world chess boxing champion. That is, sorry, I'll go closer to the mic. That's my new focus. Nothing of like I still love Gambit full chess, and so nothing about that's going to change. But I've been boxing, and I think chess boxing is incredibly cool. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm pretty passionate about that, and I've been training with my teammates on Team USA, and we're trying to get better. I am a chess player who picked up boxing. There are boxers who picked up chess. It's scarier for me, obviously, but we're gonna do our best. I have serious aspirations to be the world chess boxing champion. Let's go. We're gonna do our best. Stay tuned for Gambits, for boxing, for chess. Subscribe right here and join the Discord. Discord community is awesome. Share games. Stop just playing chess by yourself online. Join an awesome community of fellow Gambit chads where